The subdivision one's pretty simple. It's but one thing. I mean, we have a list of all the subdivisions as they're divided up in our database. Just the one thing to realize is that isn't obvious with our subdivisions is it includes the big subdivisions. You'll have recognizable ones, but it also includes some smaller subdivisions that just happen to have names that might just kind of clutter the list for you, but they are valid subdivision names. So that's why the list is so large. But we can look at Hollymead here and do a search. And it's going to return many pages of results, but it's got 317 records in here is how it's working. And so you can browse all that, but then this might be one that you narrow, the one that that a certain street, you want to look at a certain street in Hollymead, or a certain owner in Hollymead that you want to narrow it by the Smith in Hollymead, not the Smith in someplace else. And sorry to pick on the Smiths, but I think that they're probably used to it by now. So that's the subdivision, but also unlike the other intersection search we were looking at before, where it only showed the cross streets that occurred on that road, this is still going to show the full roads of Albemarle County in here. It's not going to narrow this list based on the subdivisions. So you can I could put a road in here that isn't in Hollymead, and that's where I'll get another one of those. Does no results.
Okay, and then recent sales is the last section in here. You know, we might get calls from realtors saying, you know, what houses have been sold in the last month or whatever. So this can be a pretty handy one. We can do like, I don't know, I think I have to do zeros. So you can do like a range, you can do a day, you can do a month, you can do, you know, a year. You know, obviously you're going to get more results the more you do. So this is going to give you all of the recent sales, and you can go in and get into some stuff that we'll talk about in a little bit, mailing labels and such, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Yeah, so that's pretty much your date search that you can use to see what's been going on in a certain period of time. And it may not be, you might not want recent, you may want to know what happened 5 years ago, you know, so whatever date is in there, you're good to go. And
you can enter the subdivision to get just the sales in the subdivision?
Correct.
You could,
yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. That'd be a good combination of things to look at those.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to discourage multiple entries in there. It just is a little more likely that you won't find answers.
Yeah. But then those two combinations are a good combination, use of multiple fields there, because you would narrow it to focus on that. Yeah. So far, everything we've shown you is available to everybody and internal or external customers. You might have noticed up here there's a county login button here, or link here. And it has instructions to see the FAQ for details, so I'll do that real quickly. And it basically informs people, and this is great for everybody in here, that there's certain restricted map layers that only are accessible via the county login. No, we're going to report that to Dane. But the certain, I'm trying to remember which the certain ones are. I think there's some infrastructure ones.
There's some parcels history and some other stuff.
Yeah, there's some history layers and some just different layers that the internal users should have access to, and we put up there, but we don't have them for the public use because they are protected layers. So in order to log in, if you're on the county system and you click login, it should log you in. And I should see if it, I haven't tested it on the training
I
computers
tested
here.
a little bit ago. It took a while.
Okay, but it should say like Albemarle slash training something.
Training 6, yeah.
So that's, it automatically does that using the Windows logins and everything. If you're doing it from a remote computer, maybe from home, which you can do, you just have to, that FAQ provides a format for you, but you would do Albemarle, a backslash, and then your login name. So you can see up there, see how it says, logged in, how it says Albemarle, backslash, and then that's your login name. And you would then log in with your regular credentials that you use. And then you would be given access to, when it comes to the mapping, you'd be given access to those layers that are the ones that are protected. So, with that said, we've kind of looked at that intro screen, and now we're going to look at what happens when you get the results, and that's the results screen,
Yeah.
the search results screen.
Yeah, so now we'll kind of show you, let's see if this will get me the error. And it doesn't. They're trying to think of somewhere.
Oh, just do all the, that's right, we did a whole tax map. Just do 78 in parcel. You can do partials. So if I think you see, do 078 search.
Oh no. Okay. Well, basically, what we're trying to show you, Derek can be looking while I'm talking, is there is a search result limit. So it's 5,000 is the max number of results that it can show at a time. So say you searched for like all of Albemarle County or something, you're going to get that little yellow message, and it's going to say, we cannot display all of these results. There are too many. So then just know that you need to narrow it down.
There you go.
There we go.
That's how I searched all of the county. Anything with a 0 in front of it.
0.
Actually,
Yeah.
that ignores all.
So just be aware that there are certain limits.
Yeah, it said I was trying to do 39,290 properties were found. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So now we'll just go back to, we'll just pick one. So once you do your search, you get this window comes up, and a lot of times people are like, where'd all the information go? It's cut off. Down here, there's a little scroll bar. You can scroll over to the right, and this is not all the information that you will see in another tab we'll show you in a second, but this is kind of like the standard information. So just know that there's a scroll bar down there, and you can scroll up and down. It might seem kind of silly to mention, but we do get questions on it. So you can do that. You can see up here there's multiple pages. It'll tell you how many pages you have. One that Derek searched earlier had like the little ... So there can be multiple pages. And you can just, you can go in and I want to look at page 2 or page 5, and that kind of thing. And also in here, you can see when you hover over these, you get the little hand, there are links. You can, if you click on one of these, it will sort them ascending. So I don't know if it might be easier to tell on house number. So if you know that you're looking for something in the 1000s, you might want to do that, because otherwise it's just gonna be random order that comes up. So you can click any of these, and owner, any of them that are clickable, and that might help you kind of get to where you're going and narrow it down some. So you can click on those. And some other options just on this window before I get into some other stuff. You'll see up here mailing labels, export list, and map all. So mailing labels, if you click on that, it's going to bring this little window up, and I think it will maybe let me create them in here, and it does. And so if you hit create, you have mailing labels. So and it's set for whatever the standard mailing labels are. So like say you picked a subdivision and you wanted a certain, all this recent sales in X amount of subdivision, or I want all the properties that are such and such zoning, and you want to send out a mailing. You would just use the searches to get that information, and then you would do this, and you're all set to print out mailing labels.
Wow.
And that works. This you'll see later. I'll talk about mailing labels. You can do it from the mapping as well, so people can create their own kind of like selected set of addresses and then say I want mailing labels for that.
Just by picking on the map where you want the mail?
I'll show you.
Yeah. So that's that tab. This export list tab, if you click on that, that's going to give you a text file, and that's going to be like mainly if you want to bring it into Excel and do stuff. So you can, bring it into Excel and delete columns that you don't need, and then email that to somebody, or if you just need a set of information.
And actually, the export will give you all the information that you see across the
it'll
columns,
be
whereas
all of this.
The mailing labels uses a subset of that information. So doing the export gives it to you as a text file, which is the kind of lowest common denominator to bring it into whatever software that you want to use it in.
And this map all, you'll see there's a map tab and a map all tab. So you can pick either one. I'll go ahead and I guess do this one first. It'll be a little more confusing looking. So if you pick map all, it might take a second. It's going to map everything that's there. This is generally not a good idea if you have a large data set like I clicked on. In general, the GIS-Web is probably better for smaller areas. It is going to make 8.5 by 11 maps. So you just kind of want to keep that in mind. So you can see all these purple dots are all of the parcels that are along Seminole Trail. So in this instance, at least to me, that would not be very helpful. But you can, if you have like all the parcels in a subdivision that's a smaller subdivision and you hit that map all, it would probably still be readable. And then there's this map link. If you click that, and Derek will go over all this in just a second, but that's going to open your map window and give you all these various things that that he's going to go over.
And it just does it for that specific one that you
specific
selected
record.
right there. We don't. So it's either all or one.
Yeah.
There's not like at this stage you don't say I want to do just this subset of that, but I'll show
When
you.
you get to a map with a single here,
Yeah.
then you can move around
Mhm.
on it, but
Yeah.
then can you hop to information about an adjacent parcel somewhere? You're going to
I
show
will
us how to
show
do
all
that?
you. Yeah,
Great,
it will. You
I've
can
had
do
to
all
go
that.
back
You
to
can
the
select
beginning,
stuff.
so-
You can do all kinds of
All
things.
right.
Exactly.
terrific.
And yeah, so Derek will be going over map stuff, and then there's this property info tab, which probably be more like real estate, and other people may use more often. It's just you're gonna see it's pretty short right now. It's gonna give you some basic information, most recent sales history, assessment, owner, any notes. If you go up here to this drop down, you'll see that there's a lot of different options. If you know specifically what you want, you can click on one of these. If you're not sure, you can go to the all, and you'll see that a lot more information is there. Stuff about like the parking lot, water and sewer. I know I'm scrolling through this pretty fast, but it's just you can go. There's just everything in there. Historic landmark, magisterial district, all this kind of information that you may be interested in. Sometimes there's going to be sketches. This particular one happens to have one. Sometimes there's not. And you'll see up here, card 1 of 1. If there's more than one building, or more than one card in building, there'll be a drop down, and you can pick like number 2, number 3, and then it would give you all the information for that particular structure. So I think that's all I had on that. Can you think of anything else there?
That's pulling from from several different sources. It's pulling some of it like that. Some of it's from City View with the pulling together the magisterial districts and other things like that. That information is recorded in City View. Some of it's from the real estate information. So that might be just the two sources, but there might be another source. Well, our GIS data contains some of the information as well.
I think we're ready. Oh, were we gonna go over these links? Or just briefly? We can go ahead and mention, you can see there's some other links over here. You know, external links, OpenStreetMap, Google Maps, if you want to look at stuff in different viewers.
Yeah, it just takes you to the relevant link, relevant to the property information you're looking at right there.
So if you wanted Google Street View, you'd go to Google Maps.
Correct. Yeah. And we can also, I'll show you how you can also do that from the map. So in this case, if we click on that, it basically just puts the address into the search for Google and then relies on Google to present it. We don't have any control over what they're displaying at the moment, so it's part of the external links. These are some of the internal ones. This map property is the same as if you had clicked on it from the results screen. If you click on it from the results screen, you get to the map, and if you click on it here, this will take you right to the map.
I was playing with the land value information tab there. Are these different soil types that show up on there? George, you might be the better one to answer the question. What says agriculture 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Soil types.